Now what we've got here is an excellent example of a counter that is usable by everyone because it's nice and low, and so it's good for wheelchair users, so you don't have to reach up to get something. And of course it's perfectly okay for people who are standing as well because they can use this sort of height. And the other good thing about this arrangement is that the colours between the walls and the frame, and the walls and the frame of the door, are very different. They manifest in a different way, so that it's very easy to see the outline of the door and to know where it is and things like that. So this works extremely well as an area. Now, one of the things about this door is it's nice and wide for a wheelchair user, and it's easy to open. Many doors are far too stiff to open, and that makes life difficult. In the kitchen here, everything is at a good low angle. It's possible for wheelchair users who come along as volunteers, people with mobility disabilities, to come along and to take part in the general work of the kitchen, which is great because it doesn't exclude anybody. I'm in the main room at the centre here, and it's a very lovely room with beautiful views out over the River Thames, but it can be quite difficult for people with visual impairment because the room has been painted very much all in white, and whenever we go into a room we tend to look round very, very quickly and work out the size and the shape of the room, to work out where we are and how we relate to the room. But of course, if you have difficulties with your vision, you may not be able to see to the end of the room. But if on these horizontal beams going across there were a darker coloured line, it would help people to understand, by looking at the converging horizontals, help them to understand the size and shape of the room. And that's particularly important if a room's crowded or people have learning disabilities and they don't always completely understand immediately the size and shape of a room that they're in. They feel more comfortable. We all feel more comfortable when we know where we are. I've just heard that this room is in the process of being repainted. The white on the crossbeams is in fact the undercoat, and when this is finished it will be blue, which it was to start with. Well done. Another thing about this room, which can't be seen quite so easily but is very important, is that it has an induction loop fitted for people who use hearing aids. If you use a hearing aid in a room like this, which has a lot of metal in it, and if there's a lot of people in it, it is possible for you not to be able to hear what's going on. If you use an induction loop, a speaker can talk into a microphone, and you will just hear the words that the speaker is saying. The induction loop is hidden in the walls, the machinery is working away, but it's vitally important that all large meeting rooms always have and use an induction loop. Lighting is important. Today it's a dull grey day in Deptford, and we need the lights on in this room, and of course at night you need the lights on in a room. There are two types of light in here. One is shaded and is quite nice, but there are little banks of spotlights which can cause glare. For people with impaired vision, that can be really very difficult, and those sorts of lights tend to make life very uncomfortable for them. Also, if you're running an event where there's a sign language interpreter, it's very important that that interpreter is given good light, that person can be seen. Otherwise, of course, their work is completely lost. Similarly, if you're running an event and you're standing against a window and you're talking to people, it may be that people who lip read won't be able to see you. In this room, the windows immediately to my left are quite dull at the moment, but on a bright sunny day it may be that there's lots of light coming through, And if an instructor is telling a group of people what they want to do and they stand with their back to the window, people who lip read can't see what's being said. And it's amazing how many people use lip reading to back up their ordinary hearing. Most of us do it when there's a little bit of noise around.